So guys, welcome back to the channel. And on today's video, look, a lot of you are going to think this is very silly, and maybe it is silly, but today I am going to make an argument that chocolate is good for you as a runner. So let's get into it. Okay, like every one of these videos, I did come across an article in Well and Good, and that article is titled, "Turns out dark chocolate has a health benefit that's shockingly great and totally unexpected." So in this video, I am going to tell you all about that unexpectedly great finding about dark chocolate. And of course, I will place a link to the Well and Good article in case you want to read it for yourself, but I'm going to tell you all about it, so don't waste your time. Okay, so as runners, sometimes we're putting in an effort with our running, with our working out, with our weights, everything we do to supplement our running. Sometimes that can make us hungry, right? And sometimes we don't want food that is traditionally good for us. Sometimes we just want a little snack, something sweet, something to just hit the spot. And oftentimes that's chocolate. And sometimes some of us feel guilty about eating chocolate. But don't look at me. I am not one of those people. I eat chocolate every day without feeling any kind of guilt. And there are several kinds of chocolate. We have white chocolate, milk chocolate, dark chocolate. And I think it's pretty common knowledge that probably dark chocolate is the healthiest of the lot. In fact, that is true. In fact, that's what this whole video is going to be about. Dark chocolate is actually pretty good for us. I mean, relatively good for us. Okay, before we go any further, I should just say that I'm not equating chocolate being good for us the way eating broccoli may be good for us. But there are different levels of good. Like, there's a spectrum. We are talking about dark chocolate being good for us in the way that it's better for us than just eating table sugar is. But it was found that eating dark chocolate can actually lower your risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Now, of course, type 2 diabetes is a very complicated condition, and chocolate is usually considered like, a yummy food. So that is what is very unexpected about this finding, that it can actually lower your risk of developing type 2 diabetes. So this research was actually published recently in the British Medical Journal, and it was a meta-study. It analyzed 3 studies, and in part of these studies, the participants answered questions every 4 years. They answered questions on what they ate, and this went on for 25 years. So we have a longitudinal study, right? The best studies take place over a very large span of time and involve, a good sample of people. And speaking of a large group of people, in the nearly 192,000 people that said they ate chocolate, the people that said that they had at least 5 1-ounce servings of chocolate per week had a 10% lower chance of getting type 2 diabetes, and this is compared with people that didn't eat chocolate. And get this, I only said chocolate, not dark chocolate. So it was found that the people that ate 1 ounce of any kind of chocolate 5 times a week was 10% less likely to develop diabetes than the participants that didn't eat any chocolate. That's a pretty good finding. And the researchers got this information about the people with diabetes through the questionnaires, but then they also verified them with a blood glucose check. So next up was to drill in just a little deeper. And when the researchers looked at the different types of chocolate that people ate, they actually didn't find that there was any significant drop for those that ate milk chocolate. So I'm sorry if you're out there eating milk chocolate, that's probably not the best finding. Although no significant drop also means that there's no significant gain, so I'm going to take that as a wash. But anyway, the researchers, when they drilled in a little deeper, they did find that the people that ate 1 ounce of chocolate 5 days a week had a whopping 21% lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes. And get this, the researchers also found that those who ate dark chocolate did not experience a long-term weight gain the same way that those who ate milk chocolate did. So it turns out that you can't just eat any chocolate, right? Milk chocolate did not have a significant decrease in risk of developing type 2 diabetes, and there was some weight gain over the long term with milk chocolate. Not so with dark chocolate. But you may be wondering, how does this work? Like, doesn't chocolate actually raise your blood sugar? And the quick answer is yes, it does. But the slightly longer answer is that the amount of sugar and the likelihood of raising your blood sugar value does actually depend on the type of chocolate you eat. Dark chocolate typically contains more cocoa solids and less sugar than milk chocolate, so that makes sense. That means that dark chocolate has a lower glycemic index than milk chocolate, and definitely more than white chocolate. And that lower glycemic index means that dark chocolate is less likely to cause blood sugar spikes. Dark chocolate is also higher in cacao, which is the raw form of chocolate, and milk chocolate has more sugar and less cacao. So because of that ratio of cacao and sugar means that milk chocolate is going to raise that blood sugar a lot quicker. But it's not just about sugar. Dark chocolate has higher levels of flavonoids, especially catechins and epicatechin, and they have antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. And those compounds can actually improve insulin sensitivity, enhance blood flow, and reduce oxidative stress, which also plays a role in lowering the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Look, so there are some benefits. If you have to eat a chocolate, I think dark chocolate is probably the way to go. As I said, I do eat chocolate every day, and right here I just pulled some things out of my pantry. These are little beautiful Ferrero Rochers. That is not the chocolate that I'm talking about. That's more candy. I also have this. I pulled this out of my pantry. See this? This is a big bag of chocolate chips, and I will happily just sit there and munch through the entire bag. And this is semi-sweet milk chocolate, and the first ingredient is sugar. So by showing you what I eat, I am telling you what not to eat. If you want to lower your risk of type 2 diabetes, don't eat those. In fact, I should probably eat less, but it's such a big bag and I have to get through it. Anyway, you're probably wondering, actually, I'm sure you're wondering what this has to do with running. I'll put this away. Look, I don't always just keep it in my desk. It's usually put away in the pantry. It would be very dangerous for me to keep it within arm's reach at all times. So anyway, back to the running question, like how does this relate to running? Well, I went to Google to find out, and I asked Google, do people with diabetes run better than people without diabetes, right? That's a pretty obvious question, and I really wanted to know the answer. And it turns out that no, people with diabetes generally do not run better than people without diabetes. So there you go. If you are a chocolate eater and you're a runner, you probably want to eat dark chocolate and lower that risk of type 2 diabetes, because we have just found out from Google that people with diabetes do not run better than people without diabetes. So with that, it's Matt B. This has been probably the most ridiculous video I've ever made. But if you have made it through this point in the video, I want you to put that chocolate bar emoji in the comments, just so I know that you made it all the way to the end. And with that, it's Matt B. This has been a video on diabetes, how to be a good runner, and how to eat delicious food. Be kind, be happy, run well. See you in a couple of days.